small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
From the heart of Appalachia, located under a shopping mall near the city that moves mountains, you're listening to Here To Chew Bubblegum.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings. Hello, everyone, and happy Halloween Eve. I am Goose. This is episode 104. Gertie, Dan, and Rebecca will rejoin me next week. Today, you are in for a special treat, because we have an interview that I recorded with the Spooky family earlier this month. I also want to encourage everyone to check out the Spooky Family podcast today as they end their tournament that they have been having. You will hear myself, Justin Perkins, Ashton, and Jack the Ripper on the Spooky Family podcast today. Be sure to check that out. So without further ado, we're going to get started with the Spooky Family interview. And again, this interview was recorded earlier this month, and this is a different kind of interview as we talk about all kinds of stuff. We get real, we talk about Halloween, we talk about just all kinds of stuff. And let's go to the interview with the Spooky Family podcast featuring Elliott, Gertie, and Beagle. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Sunday, October 30th, 2022. And with me, by special request, actually, Dirty Dan asked about you guys several months ago, and I'm like, they are going to be back. They've been busy. I'm talking about the Spooky Family. I'm joined by Elliott, Beagle, and soon-to-be Gertie. Welcome to Here To Chew Bubblegum. Guys, love having you here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to bless us on the airways.
Hey, man, thanks for having us. We're just, it's just one of those lonely October 30th days.
Beagle, what about you? Do you have anything to say? Anything new?
Let's see. Other than you're welcome. But no, it's good to be back on, and it's good to chat with you guys again. I chat with Elliott a lot, but not so much with you, Goose.
So
he doesn't really chat with us as much, Goose. If you've listened to the show lately.
So you're basically saying that the reason you moved it back to every 2 weeks is because of Beagle's fault.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. No, actually, it's because of all of us. We all have brand new jobs and new responsibilities, and it's just been it's been crazy.
Well, I'm going to make you a promise, and we talked a little bit before the show started. If I ever get in the position where I am blessed to make a living doing this, you guys will be right there with me. I mean, you might not be on the show with me. You'll have your own show, but you will be right there making a living too. So
that would be amazing. And I know for one that I would want to do a show about with Dirty Dan about our different smoker tips and how he smokes bologna and how I could make ribs using certain sauces found in South America. That's what my show would be about.
Do you have a name for it?
It's called Dirty Dan and Elliott Take on Meat.
Okay. I will also have a show, and it'll be my reaction to those videos.
Yes.
I think a better name would be Behind the Green Door would be a good name for that show.
I think there's already a show with that name.
Oh, are you sure?
Maybe. What about Behind the Green Egg? Like the
green eggs and ham. Sam I am. Yes. That is. That's a really good idea. So, How's everything been going at the Spooky Family Podcast? What have you guys been up to for the month of October here? What have you been doing?
So if you've been listening, it's our second annual tournament of Halloween horror, madman, villain, whatever. Hosted this year by last year's winner, the Count Dracula. And actually, Goose, this is a big pull for you. I'm we didn't announce this ahead of time, but with us today is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Count Dracula. Dracula, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. It's me.
All
of
right,
course,
so
Vlad the Impaler.
yes, we bring the star power when we come on. That's he is the man, the myth, the legend. Dracula, you tell Goose real quick about the tournament this year, about if they've not been listening, what can they expect?
Complete and utter carnage, bloodshed,
Yes, that's what we like. We like carnage and bloodshed on our channel.
and a little bit of laughs.
Now,
a little bit of laughs.
When you
Remember,
speak about
family-friendly carnage and bloodshed.
right, but when you speak about bloodshed, there was a lot of bloodshed in Rocky 3 when Clubber Lang laid it to Rocky.
He is a favorite. Not sure if he is in tournament this year.
Oh, but there may be something that happens in today's episode, Mr. Goose. You may need to listen because in the month of October, as I'm sure everyone is aware, we've tried to do weekly again just so we can get this tournament in. Now, whether or not we've been successful, well, I'm just not wanting to tell you right now because, that's how it goes. But there may be a surprise. And ladies and gentlemen, you know who just rolled up? It's Miss Gertie herself.
Welcome, Gertie.
Go
Welcome.
join us.
Yes, Gertie, please join
Gertie's
us.
on the way.
Halloween is one of your guys' favorite times of year. It is mine as well. I actually do like Christmas better, than Halloween. Sorry. What would be and I know you've mentioned this on your show before, but if there's anything that you've watched since last year, what would be that you would now watch on Halloween annually? What would that be? Would it be Hocus Pocus 2?
No, definitely not.
Would it be the Addams
It wouldn't
Family?
be Hocus Pocus 1 either. I'm just
Okay.
going to throw that out there.
What about Rob Zombie's version of the Addams Family? Would it be that?
I've not watched it yet. That's one of the things we're hoping to watch tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, 4 weeks ago.
And for those of you that do listen to both shows, we are in a moment again where I guess, how did you word that exactly? We are predicting.
We're in a time bubble.
Yeah, and it's similar to the episode before you went to Pikeville Comic Con, and then when you were there, and then actually
what had happened at.
Yes.
We're a very strange podcast because we can tell our future any way we want to tell our future, and then it always happens the most boring way possible. So that's what we do.
Beagle,
Dracula, see you later, man. We'll see you at the tournament finals later on our show, the Spooky Family Podcast. Hey, Beagle,
Bye-bye.
you're back.
See you soon.
All right, see you, Drac. Sorry.
Beagle, you just missed Dracula.
Seems like every time he shows up, I leave for some weird reason.
It's so weird.
It's very weird. It's kind of like Clark Kent and Superman. I feel like.
Exactly.
Now, I think I may be one episode behind, or I was one episode behind when we were recording this.
Yes.
What do you think about? And I never knew you guys were into this. Well, you had mentioned it before, but it had slipped my mind. I'm pushing 50, so I do actually forget stuff from time to time. If you listen to my better half, she says I forget stuff all the time. But what got you guys hooked on what we do in the shadows?
Oh, that's a Gertie question. Gertie, are you with us? She's halfway there.
Halfway
She's
there.
almost there.
So
So Gertie, Gertie watched the film,
Uh-huh.
the original movie
No,
version.
I
with
have never
Taika
saw the
Waititi.
movie, so
I'm sorry.
I have never saw the film.
Okay,
I just saw the TV
that's
show.
what got her started. She watched the version with Taika Waititi, and they had the werewolves that were really swearwolves, and just all that good stuff in it. And I watched it with her. I didn't know how it would go for me, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And then the television show came out. She was like, "Let's give it a shot. Come on, let's just give it a chance." So I watched it, and it has become a must-see TV in our household. It is fantastic.
I would say the same for me. I watched the film, but for me, as soon as I seen that Matt Berry was on it, that pretty much sold me. That guy is top tier comedy for me.
Who is your favorite character? Because for me, Colin Robinson is who I love the most.
Colin Robinson is by far one of my. Colin Robinson. But he's not my favorite. My favorite character of all time is Jackie Daytona.
Okay.
Jackie Daytona.
Oh, but there's just something about, an energy vampire, and he's normal, but and I actually know people like that have sucked the energy out of the room before,
Yes.
And when they first.
I live with one.
Oh, man, that was bad.
Low blow.
That was bad.
Low blow.
Very bad.
I was talking about Chris Christopherson, our skeleton butler.
Yeah, sure you were.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, now they're all
No, Elliott, we would never gang up on you.
I would constantly gang up on you if possible.
if possible.
So with you guys being busy,
Gertie is actually here now.
Okay.
And has her microphone.
Okay.
So the question, Gertie, as you fix yourself over there. It's okay. Can you hear?
She's so close.
Hello, Gertie. Can you hear me? Let's see if I can hear you.
I can hear you.
There you go. Hold on, I got you.
I can hear myself now. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Good sound quality there.
Wrong button on my fault or on my part. Sorry. The question is what got us started in What We Do in the Shadows?
We watched the movie. And I think it was actually young Beagle and I watched the movie, and we almost died from laughing so hard. And I don't know, it really is that funny, but it really struck. I don't know if we were really tired or what was going on, but it absolutely cracked us up. So I like that kind of humor.
I love that kind of humor. And one of the first episodes, somebody showed me, and it wasn't the first one, but it was the one where they actually go out to kill the other vampires in season 1. And this was long before. What is the? And I cannot think of his name, but he is a vampire slayer.
Van Helsing.
Guillermo, yeah.
Guillermo, that's it.
Guillermo.
And this episode
Gizmo.
Somebody might still be in Dracula mode.
And this episode had Craig Robinson in it, where they go out, they go to the other house, because Guillermo is in this group, but he turns out to be vampire hunters, and they go to this other house. Just the way that they filmed that, and that was the first one I watched. That was so. I'm a huge fan of The Office, and that was so like The Office to me. The way that they filmed it, the jokes, I just fell in love with it from there on out. And then I went back and watched every single one of them.
I think Colin Robinson was in The Office too, wasn't he?
Yes.
Didn't he work in the warehouse?
Yeah, he worked in a warehouse. He was the one. He was the one that turned in a resume, and then he asked for it back because he had a chili recipe on the back of it.
Yeah, my favorite thing with him in The Office was when Craig Robinson was trying to go out with the girl for Valentine's Day, and he got second thoughts, and he handed the present that he was going to give her to him, and he goes, "Oh, this cashmere! Oh my gosh, this is great!" And, he gave him a book of stamps for free hugs, or it was great.
The actual actor, he was basically born to play that. energy
yeah.
vampire. Did you know when he was younger, the first time he was ever on TV, I think he somehow talked his way onto onto the news, a local news station, where he basically said that he was a master yo-yo like trick artist, and they brought him on there and was recording him, and he was basically doing like basic walk the dog and couldn't do it. Was like, oh, there's something wrong with this, and like he just kept it going on and kept leading them on that he was just out of practice or something like that, and he was supposed to be a the best of the best.
I am going to have to go look that up. So let me ask you guys a question, and
Ask away, sir.
what? And I want you all to answer this. Do you ever, deadlines coming down, you have a schedule to record the show. Do you ever find it rough or difficult to pick a topic that you want to talk about?
Us?
Yes.
Us? No.
We're too random.
No, okay. We do have that going for us. That's the truth.
We're too random.
That has been recorded real time where I'm like, so I woke up today from work and I found something to talk about today with you guys. And then you're like, let's talk about childhood trauma. Have you all noticed that?
Yeah.
I found this article I'd like to read you. Well,
so the tournament that is going on right now, we may have picked all 64 entrants like 10 minutes before we started recording episode 1.
That's not true.
I'm just saying, like Dracula helped, of course.
Oh, yes.
That might have happened. Who knows? We never know. Bolin Cox actually is promoting one of our entrants this year. So
yes, he is.
It's a good one.
Yes,
It's a good one.
Yes. I don't know who the entrant is, but he told me what he was going to be, or he actually told me what he did. So, but he didn't give too much away.
Listen, we
have some sound bites.
We didn't want to use one of the things we started out this year was like we won't use real people, and then he promoted that guy, and we were like, okay, we'll use that real person, and we ended up. Why is there a moth flying around? Do y'all see the moth?
That's a large moth.
Crazy. That was a moth.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, sorry about that. It's Mothman. Yes, something's going on. The bridge is out. So after he promoted that guy, we just. Well, like, for example, Vladimir Putin wouldn't have made his way in if it wasn't for, I'm not telling.
Oh, this has already happened.
Yeah, this already happened.
Okay. So.
And Hollywood Hulk Hogan, wouldn't have made it in. So, we got to thank him for that.
Can you say which one that Bolin Cox?
It's Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland was who Bolin Cox promoted.
Yes,
and,
yes.
He got that.
Actually saw it on Facebook.
Go ahead.
So.
Yeah, he went all out for it, and he actually got that first round victory against the COVID-19 virus. Which the COVID-19 virus was in male form, like human form,
male
form, and then he had that crippling second round loss. Kenneth Copeland did when he would not come out of the church to fight against the monsters at his door. But that's a story for another day, and we'll see how that goes. So,
well, what made me ask that question is I could talk about Roswell all day long. I could talk about Nikola Tesla all day long. All day long.
We're really good at that, actually.
But I know people get tired of hearing about that, and without me knowing. Earlier in the year, and I really can't pinpoint when it happened, but it's like our show, Here to Chew Bubblegum, took a turn. And I go back and I listen to some of these episodes now. And, some of the past episodes, some of the ones where it took a turn. And, to me, that shows growth. And I've had a lot of people. Why are you getting a lot of books, Elliott? Am I boring you to death? Are you going to start reading books?
I'm going to show you our process after you get done.
Okay,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But, I had a lot of people. Because when I would post these shows, like the first 2 or 3, and we didn't really talk about UFOs or aliens or government conspiracies or, stuff that we're known for. We were talking about real life stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's good, but I don't think people's going to like that. I think I'm going to get some complaints. And people seem to be do just the opposite. They
Yeah.
really latched on to that. And
We found that to be true lately too. We had an episode a couple episodes back where we talked about Gertie and Beagle's house, where they had some strange things happen.
Only a small portion.
Only a small portion of the strange things that happened, and including a visit by a possum. But
Possum Man.
that has been our most popular episode of like the past 10 episodes. Like people have listened to that multiple times, and like we get emails about it all the time. Like we need to hear more stories. We need to hear more stories about that. And we've come to find out the reason I got the books. Let me tie this in real quick. So you ask like what happens when we
try to
plan ahead. Well, we buy books. Mysteries of Appalachia. Appalachian Mountain Mysteries, Ghost Tales and Superstitions, spookiest stories ever for Kentucky, Kentucky Folk Tales. As you can see, we plan ahead.
Right.
These books have been sitting on my shelf for almost a year now and haven't been touched because we come in and like we just go for it. So
I have the same thing back here. I have like 4 or 5 that I thought, I'm gonna, research some of this and talk about this, and then it doesn't go that way. But, I look back and, this is a different kind of interview. I'm sure, Beagle, you wasn't expecting questions like this, and probably you weren't either, Gertie. But, I look back at some of those first couple of shows where we got real, and I'm like, that's really good. I'm actually proud of that. And I'm not being conceited. I'm not being stuck up. But you're talking about stories. It's like people have fell in love with my mother. And it amazes me, how they want to keep hearing from her and hearing stuff about what I did when I was younger and this and that. And, I have some behind the scenes stuff that we actually, because when we do the show live, we do it on StreamYard, which is, shown through Twitch. StreamYard is a software program that we use.
Yeah.
We're actually recording this one over Zoom. So when I was checking my mom's internet connection and her sound and all of that, and Darian was with me, I had like a little 20-minute Zoom call with her. I emailed her a link, told her how it would go. Everything sounded good, talked for like 20 minutes. So when we were trying to log in, we got started about 20 minutes late, the episode that she was featured on, because she was trying to log back in to the Zoom link that I had sent to test. Even though I told her 5 different times, after today, this link's not going to be any good. I'm going to email you a second one. And I had done that. But she did not pay any attention. She was still trying to log back in the Zoom link from 48 hours prior. And
seems like that's what mothers and fathers do when they get older. They just don't want to listen.
Is that what I just did?
I think that's what you did in there. When you were like trying every other link.
Yeah.
And
I tried it like 4 times.
Off air, you missed it, Gertie, but I was showing Goose and
Elliott.
What's your name?
I mean, we haven't recorded together in a long time, but
I was getting ready to call you by your real name.
Gonna do it.
right.
Yeah.
We don't care anymore. That's the other thing. Like when we first started that, go ahead, Beagle. But then,
Bobby.
Yeah, there you go. It's fine.
There, it feels so good. It's liberating.
It feels good, doesn't it?
When I was showing Goose and Bobby, literally how I have the audio hooked up with my headset, it was mind blowing because I'm doing it through Bluetooth through an Xbox controller, but I'm on my computer.
I don't understand any of that.
So,
Be honest with
there you go, the future.
For future. But yeah, that's the other thing. Like when we first started out, Goose, we were always like real. We were real protective of our names and everything. We just gave up.
Well,
because
I mean,
it's so weird when you go out.
This
in public
man, the man you're talking to started the aliases.
Yeah, I started the aliases, and it's really weird when you go out in the public.
No, I'm talking about
people are
Goose.
like, yeah, Goose. That's
I'm talking about.
I'm saying we started our aliases.
Yeah.
But when
he started your alias,
started my alias, yes.
Yeah, then you started ours.
But when we go out in public and people are like, I love the show, and I'm like, you listen to the show? Like, you don't expect it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, we don't really. And it's just been one of those things where we've grown a little bit, I think, as far as that goes. As far as quality of show goes, I don't know. we might be reverting sometimes. I'm not sure about that. But, but Pikeville Toy and Comic Con. Let's talk about it for just a second.
Okay. Because I have a really funny story, and I do need to apologize to Gertie if she has not heard already, which I'm sure she probably has.
I literally listened to that part the other day about the
Mr. Rogers Collectibles.
Mr. Rogers.
I am so sorry, Gertie. I was really disappointed because I wanted to look at and purchase some Mr. Rogers Neighborhood collectibles, and they were not there. I could not find them.
Yeah. Her and Justin had a really good conversation after you left, and Justin showed up. She was like, you know anything about this Mr. Rogers? And Justin's like, man, I don't know nothing. You know, Justin. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. But we were at Pikeville Toy and Comic Con, and it was all three of us. The first time we'd been together, like, you know, for the show in a long time. Mm-hmm. And the first thing somebody does is come up to Beagle and goes, I remember you from last year. You were here with Here to Chew Bubblegum. And I was like, yep, that's there you go. And then it wasn't like, 20 minutes later, we had this girl come up to us, and she was like, hey, you know, she was real nervous, and Gertie was like, hey, we're a Spooky Family Podcast. You know, we do a podcast, and she's handing our card and stuff. And she goes, I know you're the reason I'm here. Well,
she was also cosplaying,
yes, but you're the reason
over the table. Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, like, why? You know, like,
goes, I know, I listen to you all the time.
Yeah. She was like, I listen to you when we like hike or whatever. And I was like, it hit me then. I was like, there are actually people out there who listen to us and like actually take us, you know, like what we say into account. And it's weird, man. Don't you think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. You know, and Karen taught me, well, I'll just go ahead and say it, taught me into going to New York back in the summer, you know, and we land in the New Jersey airport because I did not want to land in the one in New York, you know, Manhattan. So we're at the airport. We're going, you know, we're actually going out of the airport. And there's this guy, and I didn't say anything because I was speechless. But I had my Here to Chew Bubblegum t-shirt on. And he walks by, passes me. He's within 6 inches, passes by me. He's like, oh, man, I love that shirt. That's an awesome show. And he just kept walking, and I'm like, Karen, did he say? She said, yes. He said, what you think he said? Why didn't you speak to him? And it just threw me off guard. I was never expecting it, you know.
Yeah, and it's weird now because we're at the point where like other podcasts are like contacting us about people we've had on, and like I had a lady from Los Angeles call, and like not call but email, and she was like, I need to, you know, can you help me get in contact with this person? I was like, sure. And I wasn't thinking anything about it. I just went ahead and got her in contact with everybody. And then I went and listened to her podcast, and they're like nominated for awards, like national awards and everything. And I'm like, how did you know about our podcast to get, you know what I'm saying, to get in touch with us? And then like, it was just, and how did you, you know, it's just, it blows my mind. It's just, it's crazy. And the weird thing about our little podcast is that we share a lot of listeners.
Yes.
You know,
yes, we
like,
do. Yes,
like Firewater and like, you know, just
Bowling Cox.
Bowling Cox. It's just, he's an entity into himself.
Yes, he is.
And, but it's just weird. It's very strange.
Yes, it is. And I think that Billy Joe Farnsworth, you guys may be on his radar as well.
We are. And, you know, God bless that man.
Kenneth Copeland, one hand, Billy Joe Farnsworth, another.
Yeah. Yep. I have a story to tell you off air. I can't tell you on air, but it's a very good one. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, here we are in a little, you know, small Eastern Kentucky, and, you know, you've got people in Los Angeles. Here I landed in New Jersey, and it just blows your mind that, you know, you're doing this and people are like actually listening. And, you know, I used to be really bad when I first started, you know, from that first show I did to, you know, 24 hours later, I'd look at the numbers. Where's people listening at? You know, what other countries, what cities in that countries, what's the percentages? And I got away from that. And I was so glad when I got away from doing that. Now, I do check it from time to time, but nothing like I did before, because I don't care about numbers. I care about quality of the show. I want to put out a good content, interesting show. If we talk about aliens, UFOs, whatever, that's fine, as long as it is entertaining. Now, I did get a little heat a few weeks ago for a comment that I made about police officers and stuff, and people and recording those guys. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Elliott, you're making a face, so you may have heard that.
No, I'm sorry. There was something going on in our backyard.
Okay.
If I can point the camera real quick.
Don't point it around.
Is it?
Don't show them the messy house. Our backyard is right.
Is it
there.
a bear?
So it's like. Sorry about that.
Is it another bear?
I do remember what you.
Yes.
It was a deer, by the way.
Okay.
I do remember what you were talking about, but that wasn't why I was making the face. I was trying to see if it was on our back porch or not.
Okay. But, Elliott, Gertie, Beagle, I want your guys' opinion on this. Because, once I explained how I meant this versus how I said it and they took it, they were totally cool with it. I made a comment on an episode. It would have been episode 99. Towards the end, I was talking about different things and so forth. And I said that, you should record police officers if you get a chance, that you shouldn't trust police officers. What I meant by that was, if your gut is telling you that, who is that laughing?
That was Gertie.
Is that Gertie laughing? I already knew it was Gertie. But, if your gut is telling you to record, you need to do that, because if you have a good guy that, that does his job, that's not on a power trip, he's not going to care if you're recording. He's not even going to acknowledge that. That's what I meant, is that, you shouldn't trust the ones that get butthurt and get offended because you are, because you have your cell phone out and you're recording them. Beagle?
That's my name.
Wait 1 second, Terry.
Sasquatch impossible.
I am both and neither.
I got off on a tangent there. I'm sorry about that.
Just to go back to it real quick, and I'm sure that the person who made that comment to you doesn't know where you're coming from, even though you did have the episode where you let everyone know where you're coming from.
Right.
And I'm sure that's probably,
what did they say? What was their argument? What was I don't understand.
They actually, I actually know this person. I've worked with this person where I've came from, and they just said,
never mind.
Okay.
They just said that I should not have said that because I was judging everybody based on the act of a few. And my reply to that was, oh no, it's more than a few. Go on YouTube and look at what people, how upset they get. And I'll flat out be honest again. You've got a lot of people in different states, young people younger than me, they're not trained right. They don't know what to do. You've got supervisors a few years older than them telling them stuff that's not right. You can't do that. You should treat everybody the same. You should talk to everybody the same. Basically, when I started, my field training was this, and it was straight from the movie Roadhouse. You're nice until it's time not to be nice. That was it. Simple, because back in that time, 26 years ago, we knew how to act. We didn't get offended and hurt over everything. And I hope I'm not making you guys uncomfortable talking about this.
Not at all. Listen, no.
Like I said, this was going to be a different type of interview.
Police officer on here just then, and he messaged me, and I was like, man, listen, I've got a conversation for you to listen to later. But you're absolutely right. But here's the thing: that happens in every profession.
Yes,
I would
it
think maybe that you need to take it in a way of that. If you were recorded and you're doing the right things, then you could prove that you were doing the right things too.
Exactly. Well,
I guess. I mean, that's a very simplified preschooler version of that. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? It removes the doubt.
I totally agree with you. No, and my attitude on cameras, and then I want Beagle's opinion on this, totally changed from what it was 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, I was under the impression that if an officer needs a body camera, you can't trust him, send him to the house. He don't need to be working. When I got into an incident myself over a traffic citation with an older lady that didn't like anybody. She did not like herself. She did not like her car. I mean, she hated grass. I mean, this lady disliked everything. And everything that she went and told did not happen. Nothing whatsoever. Now, this lady did wrote about 12 citations by me, which, you know, that was not vindictive of me. That was what she'd done, what kind of shape her vehicle was in. It should not have been on the roadway. I mean, it really should not have been. She didn't leave in that vehicle. But what she went and told and complained, none of that happened. None of it whatsoever. So I thought after that, because they asked me, people asked me when she complained, did this, and this happen? And I just laughed. I'm like, no, it did not. And they're like, you're not upset? I'm like, no, because it didn't happen. You know, what is on the citations is what happened. That is what happened. So then after that, because they said, did you have your body cam on? I'm like, no, because I don't need it. But then after that, I started thinking, you know, this older lady, you know, is, you know, I was always raised to respect my elders. She was full of it. I'm like, I think I want to start wearing a body camera. And I did. And you would not believe, like, you know, people, you know, because and I had people that didn't even know I would have it on traffic stops and would go and say a bunch of stuff. And they would watch the body camera and they're like, no, that did not happen. You know, that did not happen, what you're saying. So, Beagle, what's your thoughts on some of the stuff I was talking about just then, or some of the police audits, or, you know?
So I'm actually very for body cams.
I am too, as of now. I'm 100% for it.
If not even just if you feel like a situation is that sketchy and you need to record yourself, go for it. I think that's well within your right to do.
Right.
But from, I guess, the officer standpoint, yeah, I feel like having a body cam it also makes other things a lot easier down the line.
Right.
You know, and because sometimes citations can be a little skewed a little bit.
Oh, yes, they can. Hey, keep on talking. Somebody's at the door real quick. Just keep on talking. I'll be right back.
Sure.
I hope it's that deer that was on my back porch.
Yeah, did he go all the way over there to Goose's house and knock on it? But I guess to continue on with it really is just, I feel like the problem people have with being videotaped in general is because they feel like they're being almost micromanaged or judged for every single decision they make. It's like they feel as if now they have to be perfect, which really it just makes you more accountable for your actions. But, you know, I feel like this is a somewhat good example. At one point in time in my life, I had 2 jobs at the exact same time. I worked at a Dairy Queen and I worked at a Subway. Now, both were involving cooking, I guess. We're just dealing with food. One, I was behind a wall and I could cook. Not to say that there was anything, you know, that the wall made me, you know, like, oh, okay, I'm kind of hidden so I can kind of, you know, do these things. But it felt more comfortable for me. Now, you go to the other side, the Subway side, the customer is literally standing on top of you, like watching you make this sandwich. And like every little thing gets absolutely picked and pulled apart. And I can understand why people, I guess don't want that to happen. Because, when it comes down to it, I stayed with Dairy Queen for 5 years. I stayed with Subway for like maybe a month. So, that's just my little take on it.
I agree. No,
I thought he was going to tell an actual story from Dairy Queen. This is what went through my head.
Well,
an actual story.
Them boys put that tooth in my burger.
Oh yeah, that was a good story. Probably not one he could tell.
She's dead.
What does matter?
I'm sorry.
If only I had a body cam.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If only you had a body cam. That's what was going through my mind. I thought that's what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, if only I had a body cam.
And you're like, no, ma'am, that was not a tooth in your burger.
As far as police officers wearing body cams, though, I mean, I would be afraid not to. People can record using their cell phones and record everything, and then manipulate it using, Photoshop, all that stuff. So it's good to have something that backs your point of view up, just in case. Goose has not returned, so let's take over the show.
My profession, I would be nervous if I had a camera, just because I have a hard time speaking. And then there's also a lot of things that maybe not be a good idea if it was recorded, maybe a good idea if it was
absolutely
recorded.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was talking about. It makes you feel more micromanaged right at the second.
Before Goose gets back, guys, aliens, real or not? Go.
For real.
Beagle.
They're definitely not real.
Definitely not real.
You're
okay,
wrong,
so I'm the
son. They are
tiebreaker. I
real.
go
They
with.
are.
No, yeah, I guess.
I am sorry, guys, if that was a little unprofessional. I had. I actually heard the first 2 minutes, and then I had to, for the last minute, I had to go outside the studio door there for just a minute. But I think you're filling in, for that, and I'm sorry that is unprofessional. Beagle, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
We were hanging out with deer, so
hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Gertie, you also commented. Did you comment? And like I said, I've got a timestamp wrote down here. Did you comment on that as well? Are you happy with Are you guys happy with me asking this question or even bringing this up?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. I feel like it is. I mean, it takes away some doubt, but I feel like other professions should also be recorded too. That may help. But I mean, it would make. I'm not trying to put myself in that position in my profession. It make me nervous just because I'm just not a very good public speaker. Then I'd be the whole time like, I'm being recorded.
But I mean, you did a great job at the Popular Toy and Comic Con.
Oh, I did not feel like that.
Well, you did.
Listen, they all did great. It was amazing. That was one of the funnest times I've ever had.
It was really cool.
Just to get out and talk to people, that was awesome.
Oh, I mean, you did a great job. You were like, I walked away from that thinking Elliott would be a great used car salesman. He would rock that.
I am full of myself. Yes. So.
Elliott's Exotic Automobiles.
We got Dodge Chargers. We got El Caminos. Come on in. Fun times, man.
So switching gears here real quick, and I do, unless you have something to add, Elliott, before I did that.
No. I got something that I want to tell you, but it's not important.
Okay.
And I can add it towards the end.
No. Please tell me now. And I'm sorry.
This is something that I think you will desperately be interested in.
Okay.
I have been in contact with two people from what we like to call the Betsy Lane area of Floyd County, Kentucky, who 3 nights ago, which I guess at the end of September, there was 3 witnesses to a possible UFO over top of Betsy Lane, Kentucky. And
really?
Not only so the guy who I talked to, who is a really great guy, I won't say his name.
Is he like a brother too?
He is like a brother too. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And certain organizations. But I was talking
I don't think I need to mention on this program.
Yeah, because I mean, that'll get a conspiracy started right there. But we were talking, and he said, I don't know what he said. First thing he asked me was, are they allowed to fly drones after midnight? And I was like,
if
well,
you got a personal drone, you can fly
I was like, I'm not really sure, to be quite honest with you. And he was like, well,
who is they also, sir?
Yeah, that was his next thing. He's like, I don't even know who it would have been flying it if it is a drone. He said, but I can tell you this: if it was a drone, it's the biggest drone I've ever saw in my life. He said that he walked down on his back porch and he watched two huge spotlights slowly descend behind a bunch of trees.
What?
And he said, what in the world? He said, I thought for sure. He said it was either somebody flying a drone or there was a plane crashing. And he said, I knew it couldn't be a plane crashing because it was going so slow. So it didn't make a sound like helicopter? No, he said he heard no sounds whatsoever. So he hollered back in the house and he told his wife to come out there. And she didn't see it go down, but she saw it come back up. And he said as soon as it cleared the trees, it shot off in a direction. Okay, he said, I've never seen anything go that fast before in my life. He said it was gone. And I said, well, that doesn't sound like a drone to me. I was like, it usually doesn't do that. So while I'm at the same organizational meeting, another person that I know that I consider a brother comes up to me and goes, are you all talking about such and such that happened the other night? And the guy I was with said, yes. Yeah. He said, did you see it? And he said, I didn't, but my brother did. His brother lives down the road about 5 miles and was looking in that direction, was out on his side-by-side and saw the exact same thing. So in the same order.
Well, yes, please send me that contact information if they would, and I can disguise their voice. I don't have to put their names on. I can do that. That is a fascinating story. I don't think government drones have spotlights on them. I really don't.
I don't think so either. And that's what got me. When he said that, I was like, I don't know. So, of course, he was being made fun of. Everybody was like aggravating him. And I was like, I believe you, dude. I was like, I'll see what I can do.
When you take, and I can't remember the guy's name yet, but I mentioned him on the show several times before. He used to be the former head of Lockheed Martin, and he says, we have the technology now to take ET home. And this was back in 1985. We will never know the exact truth, but I think we will know the truth at some point, hopefully in my lifetime. I really do. Because you've got all these different reports coming out. Gertie, I want to ask you this question, and I want all you guys to answer this. Recently, we sent was it a telescope? Or no, it was a satellite to crash into an asteroid. And it was a huge success. They were also happy that they did it. But they kept saying, we're not in danger. We're not in danger. They kept using that word. We're not in danger. But the way that when they succeeded the mission, they were so happy. That gave me the impression was that there's more to the story. If you are familiar with this, Gertie, what's your thoughts on that?
I think I read maybe like a Reddit blurb about it, but didn't read the actual source article about it. But yeah, that sounds suspect. So we're just wasting money just seeing if we can knock asteroids off course.
That's my thoughts exactly.
Is that what we're doing? And we're getting super excited when we can actually physically do it.
Even though even though we're not in danger, this don't mean anything. I don't buy that because they said that so many times. I think there's more to that story. Elliott, what's your thoughts?
Obviously, we should be putting money towards getting some drilling teams up there to drill into the asteroids themselves, plant nuclear devices, and get away. It worked for Bruce Willis. It should work for everybody. But no, I absolutely it sounds like they're protesting a little bit too much. I swear we just did it to see if we could. Sounds to me like they know something's coming.
Same.
We do waste money often.
We do.
We waste
God knows that the government is not one to
a lot of money.
Be frugal. especially when it comes to blowy up things. But
How strange though is it that we focused on space as far as military concerns is for the past
Space Force blowing asteroids out of the sky.
Space
We're
Force. I mean, seriously. I mean, going all the way back to Reagan and Star Wars.
Yeah.
SCI.
Soft disclosure now.
I mean, and that's
You don't know what these
basically-
Tic Tac stuff. We're blowing stuff out of space.
Well, okay. And you know, and I make the argument, if people laugh and make fun, why did our government start a branch of the military and named it Space Force? I mean, that is borderline hard disclosure.
It has to be something. I mean, why else do you need that up there? Obviously, you know, there's
Or like Flint, Michigan, you don't get water. But you know what we need? Space Force.
yeah.
There's a problem
In
happening.
a time where military spending is being investigated,
Yeah,
bigger
let me
than
know what
anything,
Space Force.
we're going to make Space Force, and then we're just going to make fun of its name and not actually do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like,
And then we're going to give the soldiers of Space Force, we're going to give them camo, but like woodland camo.
Yeah, that
Why
made no
do that?
sense.
why does Space Force
Riddle
need
me.
woodland
Riddle me
camo?
that one.
You're
Well,
absolutely right.
okay. To answer that, well, not to answer that, because I don't have an answer for that. My thinking is, and Beagle, I want you to jump in anytime you want to. Please feel free. I think woodland camo, from reading and research I've done, it is easier to turn that invisible than it is the old school fashion, camo. Now, if you research like invisibility technology, I know back in the early 2000s that we were working hard on it. And if you go back and look at some old videos from like the Learning Channel, they were wearing the camo like that because it was easier to, with all the mirrors and stuff that they had, back then, it was easier to use. Beagle, what's your thoughts on the asteroid, the camo, Space Force, all that?
Well, I'm not allowed to say because I am a part of Space Force. No, I wish. But, the asteroid, that does seem a little suspicious, and for them to do the, well, we're going to do this, okay? And then everybody's just kind of like, okay. The next thing you know, they're like, wait a minute. You're not in danger, okay? And like everybody's like, okay. We're doing this. It's for testing. Like the more they explain it, the worse it gets.
How many times can you say like and okay in one sentence?
Like and okay.
Leave that man alone. I always say,
Leave that Sasquatch be.
But every article that I read would start out with "We're not in danger," and it would end with "We're not in danger." They would start out and end.
It reminds me of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic.
Don't panic.
Yeah, I mean, and then some of the stories, some places in the middle, they would be like, but we're not in danger. This doesn't mean anything bad. Jumping back to real quick, I'm just jumping all around. Like I said, this was a different type of interview. I'm sure you guys are like, after we get done, you'll be like, we're not going to have any more interviews with him anymore. Elliott, I want to thank you. One of the most listened to episodes that got a response from lots of people was the flood special that I did. And I can't thank you enough, short notice doing that, because I did not know I was going to do that until I came to the studio that morning. I'd been thinking about it a little bit the night before. When I got to the studio at 8 a.m. on Sunday, I told Dirty Dan and Rebecca, I'm like, hey, we're not going to do a regular show. And I want to thank you for short notice, letting me interview you. And, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. I mean,
that's what we're
really
here
does.
for, man. I consider Here to Chew Bubblegum family.
Oh, I'm the exact same way.
Yeah, and I know that Gertie and Beagle do too. I mean, if you need us for anything, we're just a yell away. Now, we may not be able to get together every single time, but we'll be there if we can.
Right. Exactly. I mean, this was and I'm going to show you guys this. This was the 2 days after that episode aired. And please do not say this number out loud. This is, less than 48 hours because it went up at 4 p.m. on Sunday, at like 8:30 on that following Tuesday. This was the number of listens that we had there. So hopefully you can, when I do realize that it was backwards. So
very close to what we get on a regular basis. No, I'm joking.
But that was and I did not do that for numbers. I did that because that was the right thing to do, and we've still got people back here needing help. I saw several people today that one in particular posted, please pray that I find a place to stay before really cold weather hits. And, that hits close to home, because these are our people that this happened to. And FEMA has not done anything to help our people.
It's almost as if they're actively not helping our people like they should be. Yeah, they're here.
Yeah, I see them sometimes.
Yeah, you can see them out and about, but it's almost like it's easier.
I really don't know what they're doing.
They're mostly
a lot of them
for
also
infrastructure.
are being relocated to Florida.
They
FYI.
care really about infrastructure, and to the point where it seems almost cold towards an actual person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come off like that. Which I'm not saying that they come off as that, but they also do. They're doing that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And you said it best, Elliott. Several shows, and it might have been a show before the flood that I listened to, or a couple shows before, or maybe after. I listen to you guys so much. I mean, sometimes I listen right when it drops. Sometimes I'm a couple days later. Sometimes I'm a week later. And I always get excited when I'm like a couple shows behind, because that means road trip for me. So I get to listen, and I do the same thing with Talk Junkie. But you had said our area had been through a lot, and it really has this summer. And the way that everybody has come together makes me even more proud to be where I'm from, where we're from.
Yeah. I mean, just for a time there, I thought, what have we done in this area to deserve this? Because, it was almost like every week there was something new that was hitting. On top of a global pandemic,
right?
Right.
Making national news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It seems like every week there was something that was just causing us to be beaten down. And the saddest part about it is our jobs, and I mean all four of us, we see it up close and personal more than most people.
Yeah.
There are double digits amounts of families that still do not have houses, that still do not have places. And that's what worries me the most is we did a lot when it first happened. Thank God.
Yeah.
And, we're seeing that right now with the hurricanes in Florida. But will it sustain? Because this is not something that an area gets over with in a month.
Oh, no. You're talking about years, Yeah.
Yeah. And, there's still people missing.
Yeah, there is. They actually found one, I think, about 2 weeks ago, and brought the number up. What is the number? 41 now, I think.
I think so.
So,
and there's pets missing. There's entire houses missing. Like how do you misplace an entire house? That's how destructive this was. And to just think that it really goes to show. I saw somebody talk about. Which you always do, but I saw somebody talk about how Eastern Kentucky people are some of the strongest people that they know. And of course, we live in the mountains. We, we see hard times. An inch of snow will, totally shut us down. But we are people who take those licks and then we just move on and we get stronger. I can honestly say I'm very excited for the future, just not because of what has happened, but because we are starting to do things that we've needed to do in the past that will help set up our infrastructure to be better if this ever happens again.
Oh, yeah.
And we have been needing those changes for years. And there was never any rush because, we would get flooded sometimes, but it was never bad. Now we have no excuse and it has to be done. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm just saying that it excites me to know that through tragedy comes triumph. And we're doing something that we've needed to do for a long time.
I totally agree with you. Beagle, what's your thoughts?
I do hate the fact that it did take a tragedy in order for changes to occur. That's one thing I've always hated. But I'm the same as Bobby. Bobby's his name. I'm glad that there is changes underway that will, hopefully either lessen or maybe even to the point where maybe this won't happen again.
I pray that it doesn't. Elliott, I'm sorry. Gertie, what's your thoughts?
I agree with my husband. Yay! Yay! One time.
There's a first
I'll
time
give that to
for
you.
everything.
I'll give that to you. Yeah. I didn't get very. I got very disheartened there for a little bit because I was close to the human toll of it.
Right.
So I kind of disconnected from Facebook and all this stuff. Like you can send me a message on Facebook, but I won't answer like anything on Facebook proper and all this stuff. It's just kind of bummed me out. But all the things we had happen one after the other.
Yeah.
So I took some time off social media. But I'm very proud of the people in general and how we have helped each other. I do see a problem, continuing forward, especially when weather changes.
Oh, definitely.
That's what I'm scared about.
Yeah. Well, there's, in
permanent housing for people.
In the county I'm from, you have, a lot of campers at these campgrounds that people are living in, and they'll as from what I understand, they will continue to live there until they have a permanent place to live. Now, I know a camper in the wintertime is rough. Yes, it is. But, I mean, you're not going to freeze. You're going to have shelter. You'll have heat. You'll have, the basic necessities to get by. And, I think that we're blessed, not just in the county I'm from, but several counties to have that.
Well, there's people in national parks right now, too, that are holed up at the lodges and stuff, which I didn't realize till a couple weeks into it. I'm like, that's a wonderful idea. I'm glad we thought of that.
Yeah, when I actually had the one thing that we won't mention, Elliott mentioned it earlier there, we actually had an episode. Let's see, this episode number will be 104. So episode 104, it may get yanked. We had an episode back in February that
I'm sorry, what did I do?
You said the C word, but you're totally fine. You're totally fine.
C-word?
Yes. Starts with C, ends with a number at the end of it. But
a 9.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that a bad thing?
Well, we had an awesome guest on. And
Crap, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. But we had an awesome.
I'll do it next time.
I'm gonna be calling you guys back the week that this is supposed to. But hey, we're gonna have to get up again.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
You're totally fine, man. You're totally fine.
They're gonna hate our tournament then because it gets beat.
Well, you might not be on the radar. We got on the radar because we got drug into the middle of something that we didn't do anything. But this was and I think that even several weeks ago, I gave hints about being headstrong and so forth. We had somebody that was headstrong that we had a guest on that headstrong didn't like, and that episode, just because they made a comment about, freedom to wear a mask, that episode got banned. It got banned. So on YouTube only. It didn't get banned on the other services that were on. It was just a YouTube program. So, but it was like 6 months, almost 7 months after that guest was on. So, and if you guys are totally confused when I stop the record button, I'll tell you exactly. Well, no,
you're good. You're good. I'm just blown away. I'm sorry, man.
No, dude, you're totally fine. But I do want to thank you guys very much for being on. We've been going a little bit over an hour. Thank you very much. Please, let's not wait a year. Come back before a year. Come in studio, cause I owe you guys a meal, a microphone, a flea collar for Beagle.
I've owed you a steak dinner for a very long time, sir.
Have you really? See, no,
yeah.
I actually remember that, buds. So.
Yeah, I know, buds.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with some very close friends of mine that I think the world of, I look up to.
Tell Dirty Dan I love him. Tell Rebecca we said hey.
Okay.
Tell the flock we said if they want to listen to us every now and then to boost our numbers, we're more than welcome. Come on over, guys.
There are actually a few flock members that do enjoy the Spooky Family podcast.
We do get some emails every now and then, so send them on over. Come on our way. Before we go, since it is Halloween, that is our time. Real quick before you kick us completely off, we need to know real quick, what is your favorite Halloween form of entertainment?
Oh man!
He's gonna ask about candy.
No, we ain't asking about candy.
Halloween form of entertainment.
We did talk about it, but I want to know his favorite entertainment.
So, I mean, is that far as like handing out candy or watching a movie or?
I watch movies, songs, candy. Okay,
let's do that.
Let's do that. Your favorite movie, your favorite song, and your favorite candy.
Okay, movie is of course the original John Carpenter Halloween.
So not the zombie one?
No. Okay, favorite song you said, like Halloween song?
Yeah, scary Halloween song.
It has to be Monster Mash. I mean, that's a classic. I mean,
it is classic.
Favorite candy to eat.
Oh, here we go. This is a big one.
Now, is this candy? So this would have been candy that I was given when I was younger and went trick or treating, right?
Yeah.
My great aunt Eileen's popcorn balls. They were amazing.
Oh yeah. They don't really make those anymore. You used to find them.
Oh man, those were good. Those were good. Now, my favorite activity is I like to go out and toilet paper people's houses.
There you go.
Still to this day, I like to do that.
Beautiful. Listen, if I have the privilege of in my everyday civilian account following you on a certain platform, social media platform, and your jokes help me get through the day, I tell them very, very often, and they all say that they're awesome. So keep those going. That's amazing.
I definitely will. Thank you very much. That really means a lot to me. It really does. Thank you very much. You're starting to get me emotional, man. Stop that. Stop being serious about stuff. But thank you. That really does mean a lot to me.
They're great.
Thank you.
You have a great podcast. You have you got great jokes. Apparently I'm getting you kicked off the air, so that's my bad.
No, you're not getting me kicked off the air. Just as soon as I hit the stop button, I am going to explain it to you. There's nothing you have to feel bad over.
He hit the stop button a long time ago after I said what I said, whatever it was.
No.
And he's just trying to make us feel better now.
Some other things, Goose literally looks up to me and you.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yes,
like literally.
That's because we're
Yeah.
Yes.
He just wanted to say my name again. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was.
Bobby.
Richard.
Beagle, the next time that you come out of a big lots and I get the chance to run you over, I think I'll take it.
Take it. Please take it.
Whatever you do. I mean, this is what I respect that.
Okay.
But you have to realize the damage it'll do to your vehicle. So you got to make sure whatever vehicle you're in.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot. Trust me.
I'm going to total it.
I had a totally different thought about you and a restroom, and I do not even want to go there. So, talking about Elliott, Gertie, and Beagle of the Spooky Family, you can be sure to check them out on all major platforms, Spotify, just anywhere you find top quality programs, you will find the Spooky Family podcast.
And really lower quality programs too. We're there too. Don't worry about it.
But thank you guys very much for coming on. And once again, I want to thank Elliott, Gertie, and Beagle for coming on this week's show. That'll do it for this week. But remember, we all have a voice. If we stand together, we can make the world a better place. We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail for Here to Chew Bubblegum at 606-373-3396. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.